Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. And today, my friends, we're here with the Tomb King vs. Chaos Dwarf matchup. It's going to be myself with Ark in the Black facing off against Anticity and Astrogoth Ironhand. He also has the Bale Taurus, which is the big 1800 beast, which is very good against any undead faction, really. The fact that it does fire damage, has huge armor piercing, it does not mess around. Now, as far as my build goes, going to be Nehekar Warriors in the front line, a great staple as far as infantry goes. I thought about going Skeleton with like Ushabti as kind of a battle line. Thought that could be kind of cool, with the Skeletons not being a big target for the Magma Cannons and the Ushabti being good against most Chaos Dwarf infantry, but decided to go with these bad boys backed up by Ushabti Great Bows, which I figured would be good. Ushabti Great Bows can pound any number of elite infantry targets, artillery pieces if they can get in range, and have always been a staple of the Tomb Kings. Eyes of the Desert in the back need something to deal with the big targets and monsters because you're not playing the regular dwarves. You are playing the Chaos Dwarves and they have big scary things. Now, Camarine War Sphinx, and he was brought to deal with Astrogoth. Astrogoth is very much a staple, and Anticity and I had been playing just countless games and really pushing the limits of what the strongest units are and getting really, really sweaty in general. So trying an experimental unit here of using the Camarine War Sphinx as a counter against Astrogoth, who is infantry-sized, right? Ark in the Black with Spirit Legion Buna, and that's pretty much it for my starting army. Now for the dreaded Chaos Dwarves, we do have a Bale Taurus. So the Bale Taurus is a big anti-everything basically. It's a generalist. It's not like anti-large or anti-infantry, but it does well at both. But generally it has the blazing body, so the longer it's in contact, it builds up physical resist as well as melee reflection. It just has great stats. Charge bonus of 80, 540, like... This is like what Star Dragons wish they were. This thing's just straight up better than Star Dragons, and it costs like 600 less, I think. I mean, Star Dragons do have the better breath attack, and I believe like are a little bit more heavily armored, but even still, the Bale Taurus feels stronger. We do have Astrogoth here, as well as Gorda's Backstabber. Front battle line's going to be Infernal Ironsworn backed up by Chaos Dwarf Warriors. So he basically just has a full elite Chaos Dwarf army, which I love. A lot of the games we've been doing are mostly like chaff-centric, but he even brought the Immortals. Hell yeah, dude. These are basically the Crimson Killers. They have armor piercing, anti-infantry if I'm not mistaken. No, they don't have armor piercing? Oh man, they do have some, but I thought they were an AP unit. But yeah, man, they're pretty pissed off. Should be good against my Tomb King's infantry. And a Magma Cannon. Magma Cannons are really good. Don't leave home without one if you're playing Chaos Dwarves. And we got Blazing Beards of Basharak and more Goblin Labor swarming up. And the battle is on, ladies and gentlemen. So Spirit Leech going down and Astrogoth here in the front line as the Magma Cannon tears through one of my Nehekar Warriors here. The Bale Taurus also flanking in from the side. And I was trying to get the Ushabti Greatbow in range of the Magma Cannon, but he was able to screen me using Astrogoth and Gorda's Backstabber. So that was kind of my game plan. I was like, oh, I'm going to kill that and then just overwhelm him with infantry. But yeah, that's going to be hard. He's got a lot of armored boys, and Chaos Dwarf infantry are pretty resilient folk. Here we do see the Bale Taurus lurking around, while the Camarine War Sphinx is going to be maybe going after El Gordo here, as we'll be calling him. Eyes of the Desert, going to be shooting some snake laser beams up at the Bale Taurus, which is going to be running. The Great Taurus is the 1200 gold one, but I really think the big 1800 gold one is pretty sweet. Nehekar Warriors here being attacked by the Bull on Parade, which I love their attack animations. They're so awesome, like the way they like hop around and yeah, it's pretty rad, man. The aesthetic of the Chaos Dwarves is just so cool. Now in the backfield, the Ushabti Great Bows have pulled up and they're shooting across after the Bale Taurus, which I believe has a lot of missile resist. Yeah, it's got 25%, so pretty tough to kill there. Granted, we do get Gorda's Backstabber a little bit trapped. I summoned in a Tomb Scorpion, figuring he was spamming armored infantry, so having a Tomb Scorpion and a Camarine War Sphinx would be quite good. And now we're going to be seeing the Infernal Ironsworn, his elite infantry, getting pounded by the Big Sphinx. This thing is very, very good against troops, especially when it does those long cleaving charges like that. You can see it took down like 10% of that unit's HP with one move. Now, Astrogoth with the big Flamestorm. Oh my god, what spell was that? Oh yeah, Flamestorm got buffed, by the way, in this patch, guys. I was wondering where my Nehekar Warriors went. I was like, what happened to those guys? But no, they just got deleted by a Flamestorm, which has been buffed, which is great. It's a spell that should be better. The Immortals here, battling Skeletons, and these were Skeleton summoned from Arkan. So I saw the big boys coming in. I didn't know they were the Immortals. I didn't discover that till later in the game, but I was like, I just figured they're one of his many elite infantry. I was like, oh, we'll target them. So looking at value, I'm a little bit ahead, but I am pinned back. Spirit Leech is going to be coming down from Arkan here on top of Astrogoth, which I feel is a very good way to deal with him as just Spirit Leech ban, because he's incredibly tough to kill like in fighting. So using magic and other tools like that could be nice. Camarine War Sphinx still doing great work with the armor piercing. Look at that, armor piercing hand grenades coming in. And most of them hit the trees. It looks like they didn't quite connect, as the old Eyes of the Desert and the Tomb Scorpion here doing okay against El Gordo. Or some Chaos Dwarf Warriors kind of backing him up. And this is a bad fight for me. The Great Bale Taurus would absolutely dominate the Camarine War Sphinx in combat. They do cost the same, but the Bale Taurus is more of a generalist and is better against monsters, whereas the Camarine War Sphinx isn't going to be as good at fighting other monsters. Now, knowing I'm getting pressed by a ton of infantry, we do summon in Screaming Skull Catapults, which in retrospect, is something that I feel should have been done earlier. I feel like spamming Screaming Skull catapults against Chaos Dwarfs could be quite good. Granted, magma cannons might be able to range and punish them. A lot of it depends on the map, right? A lot of it depends on the map. So Khemrian War Sphinx battling Astrogoth Iron Hand as the Great Bale Taurus rolls in. Ushapti Greatbow is going to be running back in the distance. Tomb Scorpion and some troopers fighting in the tree line. But oh, the armored dwarves, man, they're making some progress. As my Great Bows are having a little bit of trouble finding a home, but they're able to get a nice perch up on the hill and shoot down into the Infernal Ironsworn and some of the other elite units. But unfortunately, the Khemrian War Sphinx is really being dominated by Astrogoth as well as the Great Bale Taurus. Very, very strong combo. Goblin Labor is pushing into the backfield, but we do have more Nehekar Warriors. And the Blazing Beards of Asherik with their grenades have been really, really punishing against my my poor Nehekar Warriors here. But Catapult should be able to get the job done. I do summon in a second Catapult, so hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit of pushback. Now, I have been passed, but with my healing being taken into account from Realm of Souls, the value's probably pretty even right now, like right down the middle. But he does have that good pressing momentum, and this is very much a playstyle that's used by Chaos Warriors and Dwarves even, the regular Dwarves, which is just like big armor pushes, like bringing a ton of armored units and trying to stuff your opponent back at the cost of value. But the dangerous thing for me is he's maintaining value a little bit. But Skeleton Warriors here getting hit by the Magma Cannon, which honestly hasn't been that devastating. This is one of the few games where I felt like it wasn't too bad. But I guess I didn't bring like great infantry. Nonetheless, Khemrian War Sphinx able to rout off the Blazing Beards of Asherik with the Screaming Meme Catapults blasting in the back. Tomb Kings are such a cool faction, dude. Look how rad they are. I can't wait to see them in the old world. And I'm glad they got balanced. CA actually did a really good job balancing the Tomb Kings. Like, they're a solid faction, but they're not overpowered by any stretch. Before, with like the layering of healing and some of the other effects, man, they were brutal. Ushapti summon being used here and going after the Immortals, so they've been having a bad time. The Immortals mainly fighting chaff units, and of course their armor is going to be struggling against the Ushapti here, so the Ushapti, or their lack of armor piercing, will be struggling against the Ushapti. As the Magma Cannon actually shooting in, and the Magma Cannon from the back, I believe doing friendly fire damage and tanking their leadership a little bit. Now, we're holding on to this objective. Now we go for the side one, so the Kepler Guard going to move over there. Kepler Guard, I didn't want to bring it out in range of the Flame Cannon, but I figured I need some elite infantry at some point, or a good quality infantry piece. And the Chaos Dwarf Warriors heading over to the side objective. So we should be able to get objective 3. We're still within striking distance, but it's a very, very pitched battle, and a lot of it's going to come down to the monsters. And really, the Bale Taurus has been a big problem. He's been just hunting me down. Khemrian War Sphinx, though it routed off some elite infantry and has been relatively okay this game, the Bale Taurus has just been the big papa. He's been causing tons of havoc, which makes me think in this matchup, maybe like a Necro Sphinx could be really good. Against some of the big boys. I don't know, man. There's so much to explore and so much to unpack with the Chaos Dwarves. It's really fun. Infernal Ironsworn here in the back, hunting me down as my Ushapti Greatbows try and rip shots. I'm down by about 400 value right now, but again, with healing taken into account, our armies are probably pretty even in terms of quality. Screaming Meme Catapults, still doing good work. A great artillery piece. It certainly takes time to get its value back, but really it's, I think they're great. They're really great. Khemrian War Sphinx, the Bale Taurus has finally won. The giant bull on parade, blasting some rage against the machine from its little bull speakers attached to its back, is able to win the Duel of Fates. Another Spirit Leech going down in Astrogoth. And now this is a moment where he's going to get my home objective, but we are trading on the other side, so I'll take that. It's probably going to be triple cap territory, which is possible for sure, but we will see if we can get it in time here. Nehekar Warriors pushing across, going after the Ironsworn. Ark in the Black getting trapped a little bit as well, which felt pretty bad. Thankfully, the Bale Taurus kind of pushed him out there, and is going to be freeing Arkin from his oppression as we send out more skeletons, and the catapults just keep blasting away at the Chaos Dwarf units. So more shots coming down as the Ushapti Greatbows force back. Gorda's Backstabber, El Gordo, and the Immortals pushing up with Chaos Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. And here, these Kepler Guard are able to get that side point. And now we have a little bit of a sneaky idea. Kepler Guard can actually head towards his back objective and maybe threaten that. We'll have to see. The Bale Taurus going to be attacked. Arkin not a bad fighter, and Bale Tauruses themselves only have 60 armor. So characters with low armor piercing can fight Chaos Dwarf monsters, except the Destroyer, which does have 90. It's a little bit trickier to get through that. Here we have some Skeleton Horsemen trying to weave through the seam, so I'm looking to get back and maybe jump on top of the Magma Cannon. Granted, probably a mistake. Thing has 70 armor. But really, we're putting a lot of our faith in the Screaming Meme Catapults, which will be able to eventually wear these dwarves off the objective. It's just going to take some sweet, sweet time. So Ark of the Black, I believe, escaped. Yes, he ran back and he's cackling and evil, you know, doing what Skeletor does. And the Bale Taurus being shot by the Greatbows, but good juking from my opponent here. Anticity doing a great job with that as Ark in the Black continues to bounce back and forth. He does have the home objective. We have the side one, and Kepler Guard at this point. I saw the writing on the wall. I knew it had to be a triple cap. So we're moving for this, and what we can do is we can rapid respond with some sneaky gits, some Hobgoblins, or some Wolf Riders to defend objective 3 if he goes for it. Chaos Dwarves, like, they have some, or that's what, oh my god, my brain is so on playing Chaos Dwarves. Excuse me, I could respond quickly with Nehekar Horsemen or Skeleton Horsemen to shut down his sneaky gits and Hobgoblins that would go for it. That's what the brain was trying to say. Now, another Flamestorm going down, and that's going to do some fat damage. Oh, that's so cool. Did they rework that? Or is it just, did it always look like that? Well, anyways, melt some of my skeletons. Chaos Dwarves starting to get pounded up here on the high ground point. Horsemen do get caught there a little bit, which is unfortunate. As far as my summons go, the Ushapti Grepo still shooting at the Bolt Horse, which we've gotten it down about 2,000 HP since last time we looked at its health, which is quite good. Anticity did call in some Bull Centaur renders with the great weapons, so if they can catch any of my big boys, I'm going to be in some danger as the Hobgoblin Raiders are waiting in the bushes. Certainly looking to cause some problems. Another Spirit Leech going down in Astrogoth, and we pulled the value back. So we're starting to kind of claw our way back here as the Kepler Guard make their way over to Objective 1. And old Ark in the Black, he is waiting with those Spirit Leeches. Basically just been doing that the entire game. More Great Bow shots hitting the Baletor, slowly wearing them down as the catapults pound into the good quality infantry. So shooting at the Chaos Warriors, more Chaos Warrior great weapons. And we do summon in a Tomb Scorpion. So a lot of his units up here are pretty beat up. And that's the thing. Chaos Dwarves do not have the same amount of immunopsychology that the regular dwarves have, so they can be mass terror routed. Whereas if you look at like some Longbeards on the dwarves and some of their other units, they do have ITP pretty prevalent on the roster. So that's something you want to take into account. Don't think of them as like dwarves that are going to be super hard to remove. You can actually like buckle them off a position, not like super quickly, but you can. So Bull Centaurs with great weapons moved, and we do have Kepler Guard or Nehekar Warriors heading to reinforce that back point here, as the Kepler Guard do head over towards objective number 1, hopefully going to threaten that. And you'll see that the Chaos Dwarves starting to be pushed back ever so slightly. Ark in the Black going to move up. Infernal Ironsworn here, probably going to be terror routed by the Tomb Scorpion, as the catapults hopefully get the job done. Spirit Leech going down in Astrogoth. If we could get him, that'd be pretty big. That would be a big leadership penalty to the Dwarf army. It would certainly hurt them. And Anticity doing a little bit of a rotation over here. So I'm summoning out skeletons to try and hold down the point with some horsemen as well. Yes, Hobgoblin Wolf Riders. And even though these are the anti-large like Bull Centaurs, they are just beasts. They'll be able to crush infantry pretty effectively, especially low-tier infantry. Kepler Guard moving through the tree line, looking like we might be able to get this back objective here as the Ushapti Great Bows have been able to saturate some good damage in, and we're up by about 700 or 800 value. So really need this Tomb Scorpion to carry. And let's see what kind of work it does. So it takes down a couple Chaos Dwarves on the attack. Tomb Scorpions are interesting. They don't like kill super quickly, but they're like really low center of gravity, so shooting them is pretty hard. I found that's one of the big strengths of the Tomb Scorpion. Here we do see Astrogoth really low. The Baletor is also quite low. My Ushapti Great Bow running out of ammunition, so now going to be using them to take the point. Over on the side, though, he was able to get it back. So the Bull Centaurs and company overwhelmed my very poor quality defender. So I underestimated the Chaos Dwarf mobility, right? But Kepler Guard should be able to get this one, so they're going to roll on. They got 5 capture weight. We have a Magma Cannon here, and the Magma Cannon trying to shoot those bad boys. Screaming Beam Catapult shooting in, getting some good work done on the Chaos Dwarves. And look at that, terror routes, right? Like, the Chaos Dwarf Warriors cost almost as much as Longbeards, and they buckle so much quicker. Which is encouraging to see. The Eltorus is also very close to death. That thing has been getting shot quite a bit. Looks like it's going to be breaking. So now is the time to strike, ladies and gentlemen. We have 300 points left, and it's not going to be easy to wrestle them from the clutches of the more elite of these dwarf infantry here, but there's still a lot of armor. There's still a whole lot of armor. Kepler Guard on the back point. Going to be doing battle with the dreaded Magma Cannon, which has gotten 1,000 value. That's some of the least value I've ever seen a Magma Cannon get in these battles, as these direct hits really doing big damage, man, and they get routed. So you can see they're just going to be running for the hills, and the capture weight here should be favoring us. The sustained fighting here should be great. Ushapti Great Bows are pretty decent in combat, and we do have more warriors in here. Another Ushapti Great Bow. While in the backfield, we do have Gordo's Backstabber. El Gordo chilling on the side of the Batman. He's doing his thing. Now, Skeleton Warriors battling it out. Looking pretty grim here, guys. It's not going to be good. Skeleton Warriors versus Bull Centaurs, and as it should be. Bull Centaurs are like a 1,500 gold unit, so if a 300 gold Skeleton Warrior could trade well, that would be kind of ridiculous. But now, I'm going for the triple cap. We got all these units on the way in, but he's closing in on 1,400 points. It looks like this back point's going to be captured, so the Chaos Dwarves do get routed here by Ark in the Black. And Nehekar Warriors, Ushapti Great Bows and Tomb Scorpions doing some good fighting. And Kepler Guard actually able to take down the Magma Cannon, giving us about 1,000 value lead. With Realm of Souls taken into account, we're pretty well ahead on value. But time is of the essence, ladies and gentlemen. Sepulchral Stalkers have come in, getting some nice shots. A good unit against Bull Centaurs. Granted, Bull Centaurs are also good against them. In a straight fight, the Bull Centaurs would probably win. But they have the range support, and I'm just moving them in, but I think they're obstructed a little bit. And he actually summoned in Astrogoth again, which is pretty hilarious. So old Foghorn Leghorn going to be moving for objective 3 here, as the back objective taken by ourselves, home objective taken by the Tomb Kings. And now we just have a little bit of time to go for this point. So we'll fast forward, and we do have Arkin and the Tomb Scorpion coming over. And if they arrive, we would certainly be able to wrestle it. So a lot of skeletons coming. And if we take this point, if we were to take it, there would be no coming back for Chaos Dwarves. We would probably be able to hold all 3. We get the capture weight on the point, and it is very close, but we just barely run out of time, ladies and gentlemen. Super close game. I know the score wasn't close, but we just needed another 30 seconds, man. So a couple of conclusions to draw from that. We saw what didn't work in the beginning, okay? And then we saw what worked once we transitioned to the Screaming Skull catapults. I think the catapults were needed. The Great Bows felt a little bit lackluster. I would honestly maybe go with like a double or even triple Screaming Skull catapult build against Chaos Dwarves, and then bring a Bone Giant, okay? So the Bone Giants, I did testing after playing this game. Bone Giants dunk on the Magma Cannons, right? So then you kill the Magma Cannon with the Bone Giant, and then your catapults pound their infantry. And then you can summon in like Tomb Scorpions instead of the big War Sphinx and Spirit Leech down Astrogoth, and boom, I think you're in good shape. I feel like Tomb Kings are more than capable of winning this matchup. But again, we're all learning right now, Anticity included. His build was very wild, it was fun. Well, it didn't even pay for itself, that Bale Taurus, man. And the Infernal Ironsworn also got pounded. Yeah, it was really just like the Bull Centaurs coming in were really, really hard to deal with. You know, I guess we got them kind of low. Good swaths of infantry. Fun game. Well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one, and hopefully you learned some tactics for you Tomb Kings players ready to face off against Chaos Dwarves. And that's going to be it. And hey, Bone Giants are useful somewhere. GG.